Welcome to another episode of The Modern Moron. Up today, I talk about a meditation retreat I went on, which the senator thinks is a waste of time. We discuss the changing life priorities of different generations, moron style, and the senator tells the story of when he actually met baseball legend Willie Mays and had a discussion about racism back in the late 50s. But first, from the Moron Technology Department, I have to have you eavesdrop on our conversation before we get started, which reveals a phenomenal lack of basic internet knowledge. The senator can't figure out what web browser he's using. Come on, there's basically three: Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, now called Microsoft Edge, and Firefox, right? Plus, throw in Safari if you're using a Mac. Other than that, come on, 1 out of 3. You think you're not very tech savvy? Prepare to feel much better about yourself. Is that how you get online every time? You click Chrome and then you click Gmail?
No.
How do you usually get online?
No. I go to Google, I type in Gmail, and then my Gmail account comes up.
How do you get to the Google screen?
I have an icon on my desktop.
What does the icon look like? What does it look like?
It has the Google round circle, and it says Google. I'm sorry, it says Chrome. Google.
So that first word you said,
Google
Chrome. You're using the Chrome browser.
Okay.
The computer.
Now, do I have to log out of this and log back in?
No, I think you're using Chrome.
Because
that's good.
Okay. Well, I'm using Chrome then.
Is that what you've been using the whole time, pretty much? Probably.
Yeah, that's what I've been
Great.
using the whole time.
Fantastic.
Since 1994.
Moron.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, let's all take a deep breath.
I get into my car, I start my car, and I expect it to run.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I don't want to know how it's running.
Right.
I don't give a crap about any of that.
I
just wanna
agree.
drive
I
it.
agree. I work, believe it or not, in IT, and I have to work with developers. They're the opposite.
Well, you know what? I think you should not be a trainer because you have no patience for
on
us
the
less
fucking student.
intelligible.
God, you know how you have less patience for your parents than you do for someone the same age that lives across the street?
I can't get my door unlocked.
You're like family. I have no
Oh, I
patience for
know.
you. Okay? So
You hurt the ones you love.
Okay. God, it's been a while since we've done our thing.
How's my sound?
You sound great.
Really? So I didn't need any help. You didn't give me any kudos for setting up the microphone. And
Well,
plugging
now
it
you're
in.
cutting
Actually,
out.
Oh, jeez, are you serious?
Yeah. You're kind of clipping. Maybe you're a little. Are you pretty close to the mic?
I'm right on it.
Okay. Talk
I'm right on
across. Talk across it a little bit instead of right into it. I also have a pop screen for you, or one of those spongy things to put on your microphone. That'll help.
I love spongy things. I really do.
All right.
Spongy.
Thank you. It's so great to get to know you. I don't even need to go to the news to talk to you because we haven't talked in a while. And actually, I just got back from a trip. I was out of town for a few days
Stupid.
at a meditation center.
Stupid.
I couldn't even get the word. I couldn't even get it out. A meditation center. And we talked briefly when I was up there. I had to talk you off a ledge.
You did.
Right?
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yep.
A little bit. You had a bad day. You need to have somebody you can talk to and just vent.
Did you meditate after?
And you said, waste of time. Waste of time. Why do you think meditation is a
Wait,
waste of time?
After you talked me off the ledge, did you meditate?
Yeah.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
You said you were going to go and do your whatever that is. You meditate.
Yeah, I sat. Well, we'll get into that. I did sit for an hour.
Did you laugh at all thinking about our conversation? Because I picture
No,
you
I
sitting
didn't.
there like Indian style. Ooh, can I say Indian style?
Oh, you're in
Or
trouble.
is that not PC?
You can say whatever you want. This is a
Okay.
podcast. We
You're
can do
sitting
whatever
with
we
your
want.
legs crossed and
Crisscross applesauce.
crisscross applesauce. Very PC. Thank you. And I'm thinking that you have to be thinking of our conversation and you have to be going, oh my God. And you have to be laughing.
This guy needs to be up here. We need to switch places.
And I couldn't get a hold of you.
You know,
I went nuts. I couldn't get a hold of you.
I know. Hey, I'm with you, man. I feel the same way. You got to have somebody you can scream at, and not have that person take it personally. Which I take everything personally, except when you scream at me. I don't take
Thank
that
you.
personally because you're not screaming at me about
No,
me. You're
no,
welcome
I'm
anytime.
unleashing. I'm just, well,
Yeah, you got to have
Yeah.
that. You got to have that.
thank you for that. I
So,
want to thank you.
You're welcome. The point was, I was up there for meditation. Oh, I told you I was going up, and you said, you got to stop doing that. That's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
I did say that.
You did. Why do you think meditation is a waste of time?
Correction. I do not think meditation is a waste of time. I think going to the hippie farm is a waste of time. You can meditate
Mhm.
right now.
Mm.
Meditate. Just do it. Meditate
True.
right now.
Absolutely. Yes,
But
you
to go
can.
up there with
Mhm.
a bunch of hippie freaks and meditate, I think is disingenuous. I do.
You don't think I'm being genuine?
I don't
doing
think the facility is being genuine. I think you're being sucked into it. That's just
that? You think it's like a cult?
too strong. I think it's a moneymaker, and I think you can do what you do. Remember we talked about religion on one of our previous podcasts, and you're like, I don't need to be in a church. I could go out and hug a tree, and I'm with God.
Right. I can go hiking. I can
So
go hiking.
that's
and be religious.
my I equal that to going to church, right? If you say going to church is a waste of time, or you can go to church anywhere, you can meditate anywhere. So stop it.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
But I'm
totally
still going
agreed.
to church.
But do
I'm still
you
going
agree?
to church. Sorry.
Great. Good. Have you ever been on a Catholic retreat?
Yes, actually.
And did you find any benefit from it?
No, because it was 35 years ago, and I went with an all-boys Catholic high school.
And you got nothing out of it?
I got to think about that, old man. I'm not sure. I'm sure I got something out of it at the time. I'm sure I did. Yeah.
Have you ever been on a retreat for work?
No.
You guys do a
Oh,
retreat.
yeah.
I helped you with the presentation you had to do. And do you get anything out of those?
Anger, frustration, resentment, all of it, all of the above.
From going on those retreats?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think the purpose of going on a retreat to a specific place is you go up there and, man, there's nothing up there. If you play by their rules and they ask you, please do this, please do that, they don't search you. They say, for your own benefit, don't bring a phone, don't bring your electronics, don't bring a book.
Loser.
Don't bring anything to distract you from just breathing and working on that. And believe me, it drives you nuts. But I guess here's my point for when I went up on this. I did not go up there just to meditate. I went up there to do service work, and I know you're into service work. And this service work I was working with a buddy that that is a contractor, so I could kind of help him. We were doing finished carpentry stuff. And we did that, but let me tell you the daily routine while we were there. And we joked about how we were not really getting that much done, but we got enough. Whatever we got done, they were thankful for. So you get up at like 6:30, 6:45, you go up to the meditation hall, you sit in meditation from 7 to 8. You come down, you have breakfast to 8:45, 8:45 to 9, they have a little meeting about what work they're going to try and get done that day. So you work from 9 to noon, stop working at noon, come down and have lunch from noon to 1. From 1 to 2, you rest. From 2 to 3, you go up to the meditation hall at 2 o'clock and you sit for another hour of meditation till 3. Then you go back to work from 3 till 5. Knock off at work at 5 and come back and come down and have dinner.
Can you please stop talking?
From 5 to 6, 6 to 7, you rest. And from 7 to 8, you sit for another hour of meditation. And then you go to bed, you go read. For this, you can read stuff. And I'm thinking, this is basically a 5-hour workday.
Well,
But that made me think of people in Europe and Spain, right? You go to work in the morning. After lunch, you take a siesta. This is my point. Here's my point in one sentence. I think people are redefining, and young people like your daughter, who's in college,
Chauvinist.
they are redefining, and these generations, the Gen Xers or whatever generation is coming of age, meaning 18 to 20, they are redefining what quality of life is. Baby boomers and the couple generations after that defined success by, I have a car and now I have a house. Now I got to get a bigger car and a bigger house and then a second house. We defined our success by the stuff we got. And I think that's going away. And being up there, it was like, the quality of life was about, look, the quality of life, the priority is we're going to sit in meditation for 3 hours a day. We're going to get some work done in between. And then I'm going to eat some, air quotes, healthy food, which fucking gave me gas like you wouldn't believe. And that's it. And people are kind of peaceful. They aren't worried about the things they have. Met some couple of interesting people. Okay, I've been.
And I did not interrupt you, by the way.
What do you think?
Take note.
No, I know you did.
Because what you described earlier about your meditation was basically government work. You might as well have taken a government job. Okay. And no disrespect to all my friends who are working in government. I know most of you work very hard, but you pretty much you described government work. Okay. That being said, number 2 is I can't.
Disagree.
5 hours a day. It's a 5-hour break. 8 hours, right? I mean, oh god. Okay, whatever. And the second thing you described about the millennials and lack of interest in acquiring things, I think you're spot on. 100% spot on. Spot on.
They're more interested in experiences than in acquiring wealth.
Well, and also,
I think that's a post-World War II thing.
And in quality of life.
Like, you got to get some stuff.
Well, quality of life is not based on how many pieces of art you have or what kind of car you drive. I think in their mind, I think in certain generations, we almost celebrate a type A personality. Oh, he works 12 hours a day.
Our generation, like baby boomers.
Because if you're not putting in 12 hours a day and working your tail off, you're a failure, or you're just lazy, right? And I think that's
right.
And I've been to Europe several times. I know you've traveled abroad.
Were you able to observe the day-to-day sort of routine of working people in Europe? And did you notice it being different?
Yes, absolutely. I noticed in a certain country I was
slower
in,
pace of life.
Well, they celebrate life. And it doesn't have to be on a Saturday or Sunday. It could be on a Tuesday afternoon. Let's open a bottle of wine. Let's have some bread. I mean, I think that's
instead of working.
Well, yes.
Tuesday afternoon, you should be working, man. Right? That was what you were.
That's how some of us were raised. I think you're right, though. It is a generational thing, except for the 60s.
And it's a regional thing. I don't think Europe. They don't buy into that.
I don't think so either.
That's why they think Americans are so anal retentive and uptight. It's because we're in the rat. We've created too much of a rat
and
race.
High cancer rates and high heart disease. In America.
Yes, which meditation can help, by the way.
I better take it up then. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really do. I think, and I don't know why Americans are instilled in that. Is it from our parents? Is it in our DNA?
You mean the whole ambition thing?
Yeah. I've been trying to devalue that in my life as like, they're just things, right? They're just,
it's hard. It's hard to do. And it's ingrained in our generations.
But I have, raising my children, I try to put value on experiences, not on things. I've really tried to do that, especially in the last 19 years, 20 years, is I want my kids to remember experiences. I don't want them to remember that I have this really cool painting or I drove a really fancy car. One, they're not going to remember that and they're not really going to give a hoot.
Or your wardrobe.
Yeah. But I want them.
That's your way. That's your one weakness.
It is.
That's your one weakness.
Yes.
You like a nice pair of nice Italian shoes, don't you?
Brooks Brothers. Are they? We should get them as a sponsor, actually. Brooks Brothers.
Brooks Brothers. You like Brooks Brothers.
I like Brooks Brothers.
All right. Okay.
And I like Alan Edmonds.
Brooks Brothers.
Shoes. Alan Edmonds also. I have so many pairs.
Step into a pair of Alan Edmonds. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be knocking on our door anytime.
I'll sign a very reasonable agreement with them to be a sponsor of our show. Seriously, I'll give them a plug.
Seriously? Time. Oh, okay. That changes everything. You're serious now.
What a moron!
I don't think we have to worry about advertisers yet.
How do you know? Alan Edmonds. They're the best.
You don't.
We
have a consultant now, by the way.
Really? Are we paying him?
Yeah.
Him?
No. We got unsolicited advice and encouragement. You know what I would like to do with this show at some point, and I think we could do this, is I am sure
what you would like to do. See, that's the problem with the show. It's always about you, what you would like to do. How about, you know what I'd like us to do with this show? I'd like to be included a little bit in it. Just a little bit. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit.
You want to be included in
tiny,
it?
Itsy-bitsy.
Are you? You? Oh, you know what? I'm.
When we use words like me instead of us, when we use words like I instead of us, it hurts.
Bullshit.
Those hurt.
It doesn't. You know what? Because I've listened.
I don't give a rip.
I fucking listened to these episodes over and over. I'm the one that edits them down, and I've got you saying, "Bro, you're the creative genius, bro." Blah 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 blah. Yeah. What I think would be great for the show, how about that? Is if we got enough listeners. Like, I don't know what that means in the podcast world, but if we got enough that if I could justify having like a phone number where people can call in and vent, like you and I vent to each other, that they can vent on something, and I can have that recorded, and we can say, hey, we got a call from, you can be anonymous or not. We got a caller, and here's what they said. Or we got a caller from Iowa. This is Bob, or what, as much or as little information as they want, and to just tell us how much we suck, what morons we are, or maybe say the show's great, whatever they want to say. And maybe even a way to follow up if we want to have them on the show. What do you think of that?
I love that idea, but I have to ask you, because I know you're much more sensitive than I am. Would that bother you if somebody called and like just totally ripped? See, it wouldn't bother me one bit. Honestly, and I'm not just saying that. You know me.
I don't think
I'd
it
be
would.
like, whatever.
I don't think it would.
I wouldn't. I would not deviate from anything. I'd keep doing what we're doing and talking and having fun and talking about things, whether they're interesting or not. I don't really give a rip. However, if somebody did that to me and called and said that, I wouldn't give a crap.
I don't think I would either.
What they said. Okay, all right. I know you can be very sensitive
because they're anonymous.
Yeah,
for the
but you
most
can be
part.
sensitive. You're a sensitive guy.
Seriously?
You are.
I am a sensitive guy.
Now, if they called and said, this is what would hurt me. If they called and said they hated me in particular. If they hate the show, I think is there a difference between them?
Not really.
Because they don't know me. Well, if they don't know me, though, all they're doing is listening to our podcast, but they really don't know me. If they call and say vile things about me in particular, that would bother me. But for them to call up and say, I think your show sucks, I'd be like, okay. But if they call and say, I think you suck, I think that would bother me more because, one, you don't know me, really. I mean, you know me.
Well,
You may
here's
think I
something-
suck. I love you. So,
Thank you.
you know, it doesn't matter.
Can I
what
try
you
and shed
think of.
some light on this? Because I do have some experience in the broadcasting and entertainment business before podcast existed, right? I had a radio show.
Oh, I had a radio show.
All I'm saying
You're
is,
a DJ, for
dude,
Christ's sake.
would you fucking shut up once in a while? All I'm saying is when you are sharing publicly, in a way, we're sharing publicly, people do get to know you and you don't know them. When I was in radio, I would talk about stuff on the air all the time. They would get to know me, but I didn't know them. And then I'd meet them at an event, at a concert, and they come up and they start talking to you about things, and you want to be friendly and you love that they're coming up and talking to you, but they're being very familiar with you because they feel like they know you. So they feel like you're very approachable, and it can be a little off-putting. I think that's maybe what real celebrities go through, you know?
I think that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable.
For the celebrity?
It would be.
I'm using air quotes, celebrity.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if I would.
Well, that's a dynamic of having a podcast, or
Okay.
that's a dynamic of being a public personality in any way, whether it's government or the entertainment or sports. Well, that's entertainment. But the public feels like they know you because they hear you spout off and about personal life, about your personal philosophies, about the things we talk about. And then if you see them, which there would be no reason that this podcast would get to that point. But when I was in radio, we would go to a nightclub or a bar, or we go to the concert venue to have people come backstage to meet the artist or whatever, and they come back and they feel like they know you, even though you've never seen them before.
Yeah, well, the one part that didn't make sense is you need to stay away from a bar, first of all. Secondly,
that was a prior life.
Okay, good. Just checking. Secondly, did that bother you though? Because see, I think that's part of the job description.
But did you know that that's part of the
people?
Did you know that's part of the job description?
But you know my dumb ass. You know me. I'm out. I like to take photos with freaking people and shaking hands and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, I know you give me a lot of crap for that.
Yes.
But whenever I approach somebody like that is a well-known public figure or celebrity, whatever you want to call it, I have never acted like they're my friend or I know you. It's more of a stage thing for me.
Or endearing,
you know,
like
I met Willie Mays one time
Mm-hmm.
and I watched a couple innings of a game with him.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he didn't know me from the Man on the Moon. And so I didn't pretend like I knew him. We talked, took some photos. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very relaxing, but I didn't pretend like he was my friend.
Okay, did you get an opportunity to converse with him? Did you want to have some kind of an exchange with him beyond nice to meet you?
Well, yes, and of course, the only subject that I'm comfortable talking to him with is
baseball. Right.
Obviously, right? Baseball. I didn't talk to him about his wife or do you have kids, or I didn't talk to him about any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about racism a little bit, which was
Stop
interesting. We did.
We
did. I talked about racism. I did. No, true story. You want me to tell you that story?
Please.
I'll tell you. Okay, it got on the subject at the time because he took credit for getting Obama elected to the White House. Because I think Obama had he really did. That's true.
Thanks, Obama.
He took absolute credit because he was on.
Hang on a second. Before you start, again, this is a moment where you are allowed, basically, it's a photo opportunity. You come in,
Yes.
you meet Mr. Willie Mays, he gives you a signed baseball, and you get,
Yes.
30 seconds to talk to him? That's exaggerating, maybe.
No.
Maybe 30 seconds. Is that correct?
No, because it was in his
How did
box.
it go so quickly to, hey, how did that, okay, I should shut the up is what I should do and let you just tell
Let
the
me
story.
tell you the
Unplug
story.
his mic, please.
How we got there, it started with President Obama and kind of rolled into baseball. And when he was before the Giants,
Who brought up Obama?
he did. And I don't remember how it
So,
came up.
hi, nice to meet you. He just jumped right in.
No,
Hey, nice to meet you, Senator. Did you know that I got Barack Obama elected?
he was on the
Even if he's joking, how does it go there that quick?
well, first of all, Willie Mays was on Air Force One. That's how it got there. He flew Willie Mays back there for something. He meaning the president at the time. And he flew Willie Mays back to Washington, D.C. for something. And it rolled into when I played baseball, when Willie Mays played baseball, he was with the New York Giants at the time before they moved to the West Coast. And segregation was still very prevalent in the major leagues. And this was after, I don't know the exact year for Jackie Robinson.
So this is like, when did the Giants come to San Francisco? What are we talking about?
58?
60s?
No, 1958, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Somebody can correct us. Somebody can call in on our phone number and blast me for not knowing that date. But I believe it was 58.
Okay. Once again, I interrupted
Can
your
you
story.
please stop
So
talking?
he's in New York, and before they moved to the West Coast, he's playing in Chicago. And they're playing, of course, the Chicago Cubs, and they're at Wrigley. And at that time, the teams stayed in separate hotels. All of the black players would stay in one hotel on the south side of Chicago. All the white players, including the manager at that time, would stay on the north side. And Willie Mays says, that's just how it was. And I said, well, I really did. I said, that's a horrible situation to have to live through. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, it was horrible. But I have to tell you that when we were on the south side, we didn't have a manager, nor did we have a curfew. So we would stay up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning at the jazz clubs, chasing women and drinking booze. And then we'd go back to the hotel and get up and play baseball. He goes, so it was a terrible situation, but we had no curfew and we had no chaperone. He goes, so we did the best of what we could do. And I looked at him and I said,
so they, irony, they had the freedom.
The irony. Yeah, that is the irony.
To go goof around.
And it was so funny listening to him tell the story because he kind of had a twinkle in his eye. And it was, don't get me wrong, I don't want anybody to, it was not acceptable and it was a horrible situation. But I looked at him and I said, that's really taking a horrible situation and looking at the bright side of life, if there is in that situation. He goes, we had the best time ever. We just went out and partied and got up and played baseball the next day. And there weren't that many African-American, there weren't that many black people on the team. I don't know how many black people were on the team for the Giants at that time, but he turned a really negative situation into a positive. And I thought, that's a cool story from Willie Mays. There you have it.
It is a great story. I'm still fascinated because, complete disclosure, I was there. I got to go on that trip too.
Oh, you were there that time?
Yes. I didn't have any big, long conversation with him. See, you have the gift of bullshitting.
That is a gift.
And I mean that sincerely.
Yes.
That's a gift. How did you get a chance in the 30-second? By the way, he's got hands on him.
Huge. Mitts. They're mitts.
When he wrapped,
I'll never forget that.
They are mitts. His hands are so big. When he wraps those hands around a baseball bat.
This ball is crushed.
And this guy's in his 80s and those are big, strong hands. Okay, my point is, how did you get to that small window of time to get, who brought up Barack Obama?
I really don't.
Hey, Willie, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I don't remember. I really don't. And he wasn't, when he told that story, he wasn't angry. He wasn't, he didn't say anything negative. He just like, this is what we did, which I thought was kind of a cool lesson. But I didn't have to experience it. Everybody out there, all of our 2 listeners,
both of them.
I didn't have to experience it. So I don't know how he really felt. Okay. So don't call on the saying I don't get it.
Trust me, nobody's calling anything.
What a moron.
Okay. This is just a recorded phone call.
But people will go, oh, you don't understand. Well,
you
don't even know what
don't. You don't because you don't.
They don't.
Okay.
But
you're admitting that you don't.
But they won't. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
have no idea. I'm just relaying a story that I thought was really cool, and I thought coming from Willie Mays and such a cool guy, and I mean the greatest baseball player in my opinion ever.
He would be in any conversation.
Yes, except for Bryce Harper, who gets paid $330 million a year, which is stupid.
Did he sign a contract?
Stupid, Philly. If you're listening in Philly, stupid.
He's going to Philadelphia.
Yes, stupid.
$300 and something million.
Yes.
Wow.
330 million, I
don't
believe.
Even talk about it.
For I think 13 years, maybe. Yeah, it's stupid.
Jesus.
You guys are stupid.
Yeah.
The Phillies, not Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia
Okay.
Phillies.
The Phillies.
Not Philadelphia. Great city.
Actually, that's
I've
the
been to
favorite
Philadelphia.
team of our consultant.
Oh, really?
That's the favorite team of our consultant. Mm-hmm.
Well, good luck to you
Big
with
Phillies
Bryce Harper.
fan.
I mean, I hope it works out for you. But fine town, fine
No, you
city,
don't.
Philadelphia. No, I don't.
Have you been to Philadelphia?
I have. I went and saw Pope in Philadelphia a few years ago. I did.
That's right. You went to see the Pope.
I went to see the Pope. We had mass on Benjamin Franklin Parkway there. and the Pope celebrated Mass up on the stairs of the by the Rocky statue.
Didn't you have a story about that?
Right?
Are you serious?
Didn't you have an interesting story? Like, how many people attended that Mass, and what was it like to get communion?
It was like, I'm sure.
Seriously. How long did it take to do communion?
It took about 20 minutes. And they probably gave...
Stop
I'm not kidding. They probably gave communion to... Well, the tickets... So you could come to the Mass and stay on the Parkway, right? But you weren't part of that. You weren't in the inner ring, right? But there were several 100,000 people that had tickets for the Mass. So there were probably...
Receiving communion. And only the Pope handed out communion.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding you. He's going to he'd still be there, for Christ's sake.
It would have been...
Hey, how many tickets did you sell, for Christ's sake? Getting tired of handing out these little discs of styrofoam.
Oh, boy. Oh, I totally lost it now. Anyway, it went really fast. And yes, you sucked me into that one. It was the Pope. He sat down. He didn't even give out communion. He did to the altar, but that was it.
Well, they didn't have any backstage passes. Hey, receive communion from the Pope. Come on. Everybody's got a price. No? Good for him. Good for the Pope.
Nope.
Good for him.
None of that. None of that.
Didn't sell out.
Yes. Well, not yet.
All right.
We'll see. We'll see how the Pope's meeting last week about the that's just horrible. The whole thing really brings me down.
What?
The sexual abuse scandal within the church. It's just it's hard. Yeah, too deep for me, man. Honestly,
Plus, I mean, it's been talked about to death.
Yeah, but fix it. God damn it. Fix it. Fix it.
Fix it. Fire them.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Why don't they just fire these priests? Like, you're done, dude. Get out.
That's what they got.
It's like they're housing fugitives. Like they're housing fugitives. They are.
It's so...
They're getting asylum in the church.
And to me, everybody, it's so complicated because, you have to go through all that. I don't think it's that complicated.
No, it's not. Bullshit.
I don't. Just handle it. That's all I say. That's what I would tell Pope Francis. Freaking handle it.
You don't think it's that complicated?
I would tell
what?
him to stop the bleeding and figure this out quickly, take decisive action, and clean it out from top to bottom.
Drain the swamp.
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Joking about.
I don't know.
It's our podcast, we can joke about whatever we want. And on that note, I think we'll stop. I hope you don't hate us for making light of very serious issues. It doesn't mean we don't care. We're just being, morons. And that's not an excuse. It's a fact. Please keep listening, and thank you for subscribing because, let's face it, you are our only listener. Until next time, this is The Modern Moron.